Thank you very much. And I know it's been just a little under a month since I was here last, and I don't want to repeat the same presentation. And I will note once again, as the title slide here suggests, I'm only half of the presentation team, as in each case, my colleague, Dr. Harry Levant, was supposed to be able to join me. In this instance, he had a clinical emergency come up and sends his regrets. I will include a little tidbit of Harry at the end. Because he's the more entertaining of the two of us, I'd say. But in any case, this is going to be part two of looking at a public health and policy approach to gambling disorder and mental health. I'm going to try to make it relevant for you all today. What we worked on, what I at least presented last time, was a little bit about what is gambling disorder, how has our understanding of it changed over time when it was originally considered an impulse disorder, kind of like kleptomania or pyromania, and is now understood in the under the DSM-5 as a disorder that is much like opioid use disorder, tobacco use disorder. It impacts the brain in the same way that substance use disorders do. And so we understand it a little bit differently now. And I'm pretty sure, in fact, that the general public hasn't quite gotten that. They may suspect that, but after decades of understanding this as something that is purely an issue of behavior control rather than something that actually changes the way the brain works, we're a little bit, I think, behind in how we treat it and how we prevent it. And that is why we are taking a public health approach to gambling disorder and the new rapidly growing wave of gambling products that has come to most states, and thankfully not yet to Hawaii, but the industry has a self-regulation model called responsible gaming. We have found that this is an inadequate model, and we have a public health approach instead. I think you'll see why it's so important. Or if you were here a month ago, you would have heard and seen some videos about why this health reform is necessary. And that is all I did for about 50 minutes or so a month ago. So if you missed that one, now you know what was going on. I do have a quick little video that sort of explains how gambling disorder does change the brain, from some research that was done and highlighted in a BBC News segment. And I'm going to try to play this, and I'm hoping that everything works. And I'll keep my fingers crossed. It's a short video segment. Please enjoy.
It's getting me excited already.
We arranged for gambler Tony Franklin to join a unique experiment by one of the world's leading experts on addiction, Professor David Nutt.
No, it's a mistake.
Gambling addiction is not a failure of will. It is a brain disorder which is preyed upon by the gambling industry.
Honestly, I can feel my heartbeat just rising, just looking at the damn thing.
Once you become addicted, it's very, very hard to stop because you've changed your brain. Addiction is a brain that has changed to become entrained to the desires of the gambling.
So we're going to start the roulette task, Tony.
This will be the first time anyone plays something similar to a fixed odds betting terminal from inside an MRI scanner. The professor says it will reveal what's happening in Tony's brain as he uses a keypad to bet.
I've got £1,000 to spend. Can I spend it all on the first spin?
When Tony is doing his task, when he's looking at the roulette wheel and he's making a decision to bet, parts of the brain get turned on, and then they can't stop. And we think there's probably a chemical basis to that. So that's what we're expecting to see, that the habit centers are overactivated in people with gambling compared with normal people like us. The brain's not very active. Maybe a little bit here, he's thinking at the, what shall I do? But it's pretty calm. Contrast that with what happens in the next one. And
That's a huge difference from
indeed
there to there.
Exactly.
So that's in a matter of seconds as well, would it be?
Exactly.
Or...
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So here we see the visual system, the back of the brain here, intensely activated. He's watching really closely. He wants that ball bearing to come down on his color. And now we look at the emotional regions. And these are different regions activated. This is the anterior cingulate cortex. This is the insular. And these are the two areas of the brain which make sense of emotions. They may generate the emotion he's feeling of excitement. Will I win? Won't I win? And here we see a very similar picture. In fact, the only real difference between winning and anticipating is this area here. And this is an area where I think we see the sense of satisfaction. Yeah, I've won. That's good. Register that. Start again. But overall, winning and waiting to see if you've won, the anticipation, they're both pretty much the same. And that's a really key point about gambling. It's not just the winning that counts. It's the taking part. And the taking part repeatedly when you don't win is as activating to a gambler as the winning. When you're sitting at a fixed odd terminal, you're getting this every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So you can have hundreds of them. And so that process can become, in the end, it becomes kind of habitual. It becomes addictive.
So it's not really about winning. It's not really about money. It's about how this product makes a person feel. And it's interesting that winning doesn't really light up the brain any more than just the process of playing, the uncertainty, waiting for a result, anticipating a result is really where that excitement is. And they were talking about fixed odds terminals and this happening every 20 seconds in modern online gambling. There can be a new bet placed every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds. You can play 7 hands of blackjack at once. So the speed at which this product is used is very much designed to elicit these types of responses in the brain. And now to the miracle of Hawaii, which is one of just 2 states that does not have any casinos, that does not have any sports betting, no online betting, no bingo, no daily fantasy sports, no poker, and no lottery, which is just miraculous. And in terms of avoiding this type of regressive way for the state to extract money from its residents, right? It's really very impressive, the resilience of resisting the temptation to extract revenue that way. And we call it revenue generation, but it is really just losses. It's all the money that comes from legalized gambling and the lottery comes from public losses, right? That's the only, and there's nothing really added. There's nothing created in the economy. There's no product created that comes from this. It's not a productive loss. It's just a public loss of revenue, a transfer of wealth from people to the companies and to government. And there's probably, as a matter of policy, better ways to do that. And those are, of course, what is still happening in Hawaii. So this is wonderful. But so you might ask, well, thank goodness I don't have to worry about this. You know, I'm in Hawaii, so we don't have any of these problems. So what, me worry? We don't have to worry about this in Hawaii. But there is already a fair amount of illegal gambling online taking place that is causing harm, as well as, you know, presumably you know, poker rooms and lottery games that occur in person on a rather smaller scale. I think the online illegal market is probably much more significant, and it is causing harm. And as long as there is needs and temptations to extract revenue, to avoid taxes, there will always be a continuing series of proposals of various sorts to change the legal status of gambling in Hawaii. If you do an internet search, and I noticed this one today, I pulled up this website from The Guardian. Supposedly, it's not actually The Guardian, which is a real newspaper that exists, I believe, in paper as well as online. But this is theguardian.ng. I don't think it's associated with the news organization, but this is what it comes up. Hawaii sweepstakes, online casinos 2024, legal gaming and prize redemption guide. All right, in the tropical paradise, Hawaii sweepstakes online casinos offers a unique gaming experience that aligns with legal stipulations. Right, understanding the legal space is paramount for anyone looking to navigate the world of Hawaii sweepstakes online casinos. So this isn't actually legal, although it makes a user think that it is legal. It's in a gray area of sweepstakes law that exists now in a number of states, but it basically permits, in a gray area of the law, online casinos and online sports books. Here's another one from a different website that you know, in their FAQ says, "Are Hawaii sweepstakes online casinos legal?" Well, understanding the backdrop is critical. The state has stringent gaming laws, and traditional online casinos are not permitted. However, sweepstakes online casinos operate under a different model. They're compliant with the state's sweepstake laws, which makes them a legal form of entertainment, arguably. So what does this mean? This means that if you want, you can see if you know, in different websites will say that Hawaii is among the states that qualifies. And this one called realprize.com lists Hawaii. And this is called the sweepstakes loophole. And it is a gray market type of casino that includes online casino games as well as sports betting in a number of states, including Hawaii. It's difficult to shut these down. There are other types of offshore gambling sites and casinos, right? And they are absolutely not legal, not regulated. The state gets nothing, and they're criminal enterprises for the most part. You can see a website will direct a user, if they're searching for offshore gambling, to things like casinos, online casinos like Lucky Land, Wild Casino, slots and casinos, all with like sign-up bonuses for new users. And then there's a whole series of sports betting websites as well that are also illegal. And, you know, I think these are the kinds of things where users can get addicted and be harmed. this year, a representative of DraftKings, the online sports betting platform, offered testimony this past February in support of House Bill 2765. The Representative Rebecca London said it's important to recognize that sports wagering is already taking place in Hawaii, with an estimated 277 million in illegal wagers each year. Nearly all sports wagers in Hawaii are placed online through websites in the robust illegal market, where sophisticated operators capitalize on the popularity of this form of entertainment. This was from a hearing this past February, and another person offered testimony for the Sports Betting Alliance, and she offered, I think, probably the most common arguments that policymakers and legislators here in the states that are considering legalizing and licensing online gambling. Here's the crux of sort of that pitch.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Kathleen Owen, and I'm an attorney with the law firm Orrick, Harrington, and Sutcliffe. Thank you so much for your time on this bill. I'm here today on behalf of my clients, the Sports Betting Alliance, which I will refer to as the SBA. I have submitted written testimony on behalf of the SBA, and you just heard from one of our members, Rebecca London with DraftKings. FanDuel, BetMGM, and Fanatics are also members. I want to quickly highlight just a few items adding on to Ms. London's testimony. I want to start by emphasizing that sports betting is already happening in Hawaii. An estimated $277 million is wagered annually in Hawaii. This money is being wagered by residents with unregulated, illegal offshore websites and with illegal bookies where there is no oversight, no consumer protection, and no revenue generated for the state. Where sports betting is legalized, reputable national operators enter the market and provide robust measures with regard to identity and age verification, responsible gaming, gaming integrity, and more, none of which is present in the unregulated illegal market. Under this bill, to qualify to operate in Hawaii, operators must already offer sports wagering in at least 3 jurisdictions in the United States, pursuant to a state regulatory structure. This ensures that Hawaii's operators are experienced and reputable national companies, such as members of the SBA. And where sports betting is legalized, it's regulated, it's transparent and accountable, and the state is able to tax the activity and generate significant revenue. Thank you again for your time. I'm grateful for the opportunity to testify today.
So there's that word revenue again, which really means losses, public losses. And I would just, I think a lot of what you said was not really very accurate. Yes, there is a thriving illegal gambling market in Hawaii. And, you know, it's interesting, there was just this past, in September, a study released in Massachusetts where they've been offering online sports betting for about 1.5 years now. And they found that the reduction of illegal offshore website sports betting was almost nothing. It didn't really change that illegal market. It made the overall market much larger by offering a legal alternative, but it didn't really reduce the amount of illegal online sports gambling going on, which I thought was interesting and rather surprising, somewhat undercutting the idea that this is going to divert people from an illegal to a legal product. And I think the most important thing about her comments is that the products that are being sold, the gambling products being sold by companies like DraftKings and FanDuel, are much, much more risky for users than the illegal products, which seems totally counterintuitive. But because they are able to and they've paid a great deal to have access to the instant statistics of all the sporting leagues. Almost all of the betting action is on in-game micro betting things. What is going to be the speed of the next pitch? What is going to be the next play in football? Is it going to be a running play? Is it going to be a pass? If it's a pass, is it going to be incomplete or complete? If it's complete, is it going to be more than 4 yards or less than 4.5 yards? Or there's endless numbers of permutations, which makes the access to action for the user much faster. And this actually makes it a much more addictive product. And that's by design. That can only be offered by the legal platforms that have access to this instant data and artificial intelligence and machine learning to create bets with that data, hundreds of bets a minute in each game. So we had this HB 765 that was filed this year. It appears that it is dead in a committee, in the Consumer Protection Committee. So hopefully that won't be going forward. In 2023, there was another proposal as well. Let's see if I can pull this one up. It was a little different. I'm sorry about that.
I'll go.
Come on,
wait
buddy.
1 second. I'll go.
Okay.
At first at 4:30, another roll of the dice on legalized gambling at the state capitol. This time, the idea combines sports betting and poker in neighborhood gambling rooms. As Daryl Huff reports, supporters claim they might solve multiple problems.
The two representatives pushing this bill both represent parts of Kalihi where illegal gambling is a big problem, and they'd like to provide a legal alternative.
So by having a legal avenue for these people to express their willingness to play these poker games, we're going to get the tax revenue.
Representatives Daniel Holt and John Mizuno are proposing a test of small, privately owned and heavily taxed gambling parlors like these in Eugene, Oregon, where patrons would play only poker and place bets on sports. They say the parlors would be attractive to people who now take their money to Vegas and also might reduce the pressure to legalize online sports betting here.
The reason why we're concerned with DraftKings, FanDuel, we don't want a mainland corporation coming in and just taking all the money.
They proposed the money would go to law enforcement to crack down on illegal gambling and for gambling addiction programs and to Hawaiian homelands.
What kind of money are we talking about? We're talking about millions.
Eric Ford is involved with Full House Poker in Oregon and is Mizuno's expert on the proposed bill. He also was sentenced in 2013 to 20 months in federal prison for masterminding an illegal gambling operation in Kona. His co-defendant, Kendall Limahai, is also part of his current organization. Ford says his proposal would allow convicted gamblers to run the parlors, but not tax evaders or mainlanders.
Have to be local, have to be born in Hawaii, have to be a 35-year resident in Hawaii to go for this license.
Ford says he apologized and did his time for his mistake and can use his experience for good, but many will be skeptical.
You need these people to be above reproach and be able to follow the rules and do what's right. And these two, with their past criminal records, have obviously proven that they can't follow the rules.
Retired Honolulu Police Deputy Chief John McCarthy said opening gambling parlors would just increase social and criminal problems, but Governor Green says he's willing to consider the lawmakers' ideas.
We need revenue for our state, but the revenues, if you're not careful, do come from those who are tending to have economic problems or challenges. So I'd like to be careful.
So what are the odds for any new gambling measure making any progress in the legislature? All I'd say is don't bet on it. Reporting from Kalihi, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
And that was cute. Interesting. So one of the pitches for this was, well, we can use the money to treat addicted gamblers. Yeah, we can create them and then treat them with the money that we're taking from them. So you know, there's been an incredible expansion of online gambling, and whether it's online or in person, I think the online product is actually much more dangerous because of the speed of the action, as I had mentioned. We now have 38 states in the District of Columbia that have legalized sports gambling. 29 of the 38 it's online. I think almost all of them are going to move in that direction because that's where the revenue or public losses are greatest. And so far, 7 states have legalized online casinos, and we found that you know, as soon as states legalize online gambling, the calls to their problem gambling hotlines increase rather dramatically, doubling or sometimes tripling. And here is the current map of live legal in the 38 states. I believe Hawaii is this little yellowish area here below Texas, which I don't think is geographically accurate. If but it's yellow because it's it has an active or pre-filed legislation, which is the bill that I played the little clip from the hearing for, which appears to be stuck in committee and not moving. We'll have to see. And for online casinos, you've got these states, and that is a whole other layer of risk to players. I think that players sometimes get into online gambling through the sports and then move to online casino games because they just need more action and more varieties of this type of action. That's really the word for it. The action is what activates the brain. So what does the American Gaming Association have to say? That's the trade organization for the entire gambling industry. Bill Miller says, well, I'm not going to read to you what Bill Miller says. Let's hear what Bill Miller says.
We had arranged to speak to DraftKings about all this, but abruptly they pulled out of our scheduled on-camera interview.
So we came to Washington, D.C. to meet Bill Miller, president of the gambling industry's chief trade group, the American Gaming Association.
Take out our phone, 24 hours a day, a few swipes. How do you reconcile that with the fact that this entertainment has the potential to addict users?
Yeah, the addiction element of are people addicted to their phones, which is kind of a common phrase. I don't believe that there is an addiction to mobile betting any more than there is an addiction to utilization of your phone for any other reason.
You don't think adding a layer of betting makes the phone more addictive than just tooling around Instagram?
No.
Every clinician we've spoken to has said we're noticing a rise in problem gambling. There are a lot more problem gamblers now by every metric than there were pre-2018.
I would concede to the fact that there are more known people with gambling problems because we in the gambling industry are flagging those people. The illegal industry doesn't flag any of them.
Bill Miller. So if you come away from this wanting to hear more, if you just Google 60 Minutes and Gambling or look for it on YouTube, the full, whatever it is, 13-minute episode from earlier this year, which features myself, Harry Levant, and my mentor and colleague, Dr. Richard Daynard, is available online, and it's very. I found it interesting, maybe just because I was on it, but I think it's actually a really good backgrounder. So we've got this now, this real issue with mental health problems in this country, and now you've got a new kind of addiction that is being actively marketed. We've got all kinds of new addictions, right? And and what Bill Miller was saying about the way people use their phone is not entirely wrong. I think there are many people who cannot avoid looking at their phone for more than 15 or 20 minutes without starting to feel uncomfortable. But as you add that layer of this other very addictive activity onto the phone, and you have that casino or that sports book in your pocket 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can bet on sports around the clock because you can bet on sports in Asia, in Europe, that is live. Who's going to win the next point in a table tennis match in Eastern Europe? You know, that is the kind of thing where you can wake up in any hour, and you maybe if you're have a gambling disorder, you do wake up and you feel a need for your brain to light up like that. You can just get on your phone and do it. So you've got, I think, this growing problem, and it's going to be important to help identify patients and people who may be at risk. And so some of the ways that we can screen for the problem is talk to people, right? Talk to patients, talk to people you're worried about. Are they showing an intense interest in gambling? Are they having trouble, cutting back? Or do they want to stop, but they really can't? Are there personal needs or health issues that arise as a result of all of this gambling or focus on gambling? Is it an obsession? Are they pulling out some of the retirement funds or cashing in an insurance policy to get money to continue to gamble? Are they asking for bailout money from friends and colleagues? Do they need loans? Are they saying that, oh, my car needs another $700 repair or $1,000 repair again? And you're wondering, I wonder, how can that car be so problematic? And aren't you also talking a lot about gambling these days? Are there mood swings based on wins and losses? Are household items disappearing, right? Is the person being very secretive or deceptive if the issue is raised in conversation? Creditors, right? People who are only talking about, who are saying that they're gambling and only talking about their wins, but not their losses. This might be another indicator. Are they liquidating assets? There's a lot of things that you can do, right? To raise this in conversation, to try to figure out if somebody is in need. And there's actually not a diagnostic tool. I shouldn't say that because it's not a diagnostic tool, but there's the Problem Gambling Severity Index, which has been around for, I think, about 25 years now. And it is used not to diagnose a gambling disorder, but to look for people who are at risk of a gambling disorder. There's only 9 questions on this, that on the Likert scale with 0 to 3, and over, and asks about, the last 12 months. Have you bet more than you could afford to lose? Have you needed to gamble with larger amounts of money to get the same feeling of excitement? So this is an indication of the kind of tolerance that one might experience with a substance use disorder, which actually applies in this realm as well. When you gamble, do you go back another day to try to win back the money you lost? Now, that is a kind of actually an old school question, because this is before online gambling, where you didn't have to go back to a casino to try to win back the money you lost anymore. Now, all you have to do is just get right back on the phone. Have you borrowed money or sold anything to get money to gamble? And all of these are, again, you get a point, 0 to 3 on each of these. Have you felt you might have a problem with gambling? Has it caused any health problems? Have people criticized your betting or told you that you had a gambling problem, whether or not you thought it was true? And has your gambling caused financial problems for you or your household? And have you felt guilty about the way you gamble or what happens when you gamble?
Mark,
the scoring
for...
Sorry, go ahead.
We have a good question from she says, if the brain activity is similar by just engaging in gambling, is there a gambling game that does not involve the exchange of money studied? And what does this type of activity show?
That's an excellent question. And I believe that in fact, there are now this whole group of products. I was just in Indianapolis last week, and I was watching the news, and the commercial that was coming on very frequently was for online slots, but there was no money. It was free to play. And what I think is going on here is that it A, normalizes online gambling, and B, it gets people to start to light up their brain, even though there's no money exchanged. But because of tolerance, as we were just talking about, right? I think they will then gravitate toward actual for money gambling. I don't think there's really a safe product out there that doesn't involve money at all. But I think a lot of these no risk or free games that people can play are part of giving out like a little taste for people to potentially become somewhat dependent on that feeling. That's an excellent question. And I don't have any research to share with you about that. There is actually a dearth of research in this area, particularly in the US. And part of the reason for this is that almost all of the research that has been funded on the harms of gambling has been funded by the industry rather than, for example, the Health and Human Services or the NIH. You think that maybe there would be more government funding for this, but there really hasn't been to date. And the literature is really dominated by studies that are funded directly or indirectly by the gambling industry, which I think has obfuscated our understanding of the impacts of gambling. And just going back for a moment to this PGSI, so you've got these 9 questions, then you can score 0 to 3 on all of them. So, if you scored 3 on all of them, you get to 27. And so if you get 0 on all of them, then you're a non-problem gambler. If you score under 3, you're probably a low-risk gambler. 3 to 7 is in that moderate risk category, and that's something that so you would want to follow up on and make sure that they're not moving into a higher risk category. But a person who's scoring between 8 and 27 on the PGSI may be gambling dependent. So that is one I think particularly well-established tool for understanding an individual's risk. And so what is the way to respond, right? What is the best way to respond? And I think I referenced this last time. Right now we have an industry that is self-regulated with a responsible gaming model that pays for some gambling counseling for those people who are sort of crawling in, who have called an 800 number for help, that are have been probably experiencing severe harm. And I sort of equate that to pulling people who are drowning out of the water and trying to save them, as opposed to the public health response, which is to put up guardrails and prevent the harm from happening in the first place. So one of the ways that we would like to do this, we've got at the Public Health Advocacy Institute, where I'm the executive director, and Harry is the director of gambling policy. We have begun a legal campaign which involves litigation against DraftKings at this point, and there will be others in the future, trying to get them to change some of the corporate practices that make these products more dangerous than they need to be. And we're not against gambling per se. We just want to make these products less harmful to the public, and they can be. And in fact, for many years, some people experienced harm, but the numbers of people experiencing harm were far lower. But with the rapid expansion of gambling and the speed of online gambling, we're seeing an unprecedented amount of harm, and the growth of the gambling is, I think, a predictor of the number of people who are being harmed. And we'll have a better understanding of that, hopefully, in the near future. So another thing what we did is we've been working with members of Congress, and I guess about 3 weeks ago, they filed a bill that we helped to draft called the Safe Bet Act, to address some of the risks of sports betting by setting minimum federal standards that states will have to follow if, in fact, they license sports betting in their states. So this is Paul Tonko from New York and Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal, are the sponsors in the House and Senate so far. It includes affordability checks to make sure that people who are making $10 an hour and $300 a week aren't losing tens of thousands of dollars to these companies. I think these companies should have a duty to conduct credit checks and affordability checks on these customers. The government wouldn't perform these checks, and the deposit limits and the affordability checks would be conducted by the companies themselves. Just like a car dealership isn't going to finance a vehicle that's $50,000, $60,000 to someone who's making $25,000 a year. It also has strict advertising regulations. You can't use credit cards for gambling under the Safe Bet Act, and restricts the use of artificial intelligence and this micro betting, this rapid play of games, of bets within contests. So it would, as soon as a game would begin, betting would stop, and it wouldn't. And so it's called a whistle-to-whistle ban, and that's unfortunately where most of the sports betting occurs right now. Also, we would end proposition bets, that is, bets on the performance of individual athletes in college sports. So I'm going, since Harry couldn't be here, I thought I would just include his remarks from, I guess, 3 weeks ago in Washington when we had a press conference introducing this legislation. I will say that 2 weeks ago today, ESPN reported that the NFL and the NBA both agree with the idea that there should be federal minimum standards and federal regulations of sports betting, which came as a great surprise to us because the leagues themselves profit greatly from this, and have cut deals for billions of dollars for their statistics and for their participation in this gambling enterprise. But I think, and I really believe that this has been so out of control with almost no meaningful regulation at the state level, that sports betting is going to collapse under its own weight, and devolve into chaos unless there is some kind of federal regulation. And we hope that the Safe Bet Act is a good starting place for that. And I'm just going to give you my colleague Harry Levant's remarks. And again, Harry regrets that he was unable to join us today because I was going to make him do all the work this time. Here's Dr. Levant.
To the gambling industry. Today, with the introduction of the Safe Bet Act, along with his partner, Senator Blumenthal, Congressman Tonko and Senator Blumenthal deliver for the American people. Personally, in addition to being a gambling addiction therapist and a director of gambling policy for PHAI, I'm also a gambling addict in recovery. I made my last bet on April 27, 2014. On that same night, I nearly took my own life in the grips of a pathological gambling addiction. Make no mistake, I hurt many, many people who loved and trusted me. And on the day that I pled guilty to my financial crimes, I pledged that if I could get well and find recovery, I would give back by helping to prevent others suffering harm related to gambling addiction and gambling-related harm. I'm now privileged to serve as a therapist at Ethos Treatment and a public health advocate with PHAI. And in those capacities, I am duty-bound to act because prevention of gambling addiction is the single best form of treatment. The Safe Bet Act will prevent gambling addiction, gambling-related harm, and save lives and families. As the Congressman mentioned, we have known for more than 10 years that gambling is an addictive product, and gambling disorder and addiction similar to heroin, opioids, tobacco, alcohol, and cocaine. However, with every other addictive product or substance, government regulates the advertising, promotion, distribution, and consumption of the product. This is to prevent harm and protect public health. With gambling, sadly, the exact opposite is occurring, as Senator Blumenthal noted. The gambling industry business model is designed to deliver constant and nonstop gambling action on every phone, tablet, and computer. With the use of cutting-edge technology and artificial intelligence, the gambling industry has effectively turned every micro moment in each game and sporting event into more and more gambling action. One company even entices people to make every moment more and promises live betting, quote, from opening play to the final whistle. Advertising offers the illusion of no-sweat bets and promises to return losses. The truth is, no losses are ever returned. Instead, credits are issued to immediately keep people chasing more and more action. To keep people in action, the gambling companies even offer what's called reload bonuses. When a person loses all of their money, they're offered bonus credits to entice even more deposits. The clients I'm privileged to treat compared these tactics to a neighborhood dope dealer offering small samples and refusing to let a customer stop. We need to ask ourselves, what would we do if a bartender used such tactics to keep people drinking? We'd shut the bar instantaneously. We'd never tolerate such conduct. With sports gambling, these tactics and much more are currently used by the gambling industry in 38 states and the District of Columbia. The gambling industry and its sports partners have taken sports away from children, families, and the American public. Every pitch, shot, snap, serve, swing, and more are now used for gambling. Sports have become the equivalent of a non-stop slot machine. So how did we get here? There are essentially two answers to this question. Also, two answers to the question of why, under the leadership of Senator Blumenthal and Congressman Tonko, Congress needs to act to bring federal regulation to the gambling industry. The first answer to the question is that online sports gambling is a fundamentally different and more dangerous product than anyone could have imagined. In May of 2018, when the Supreme Court decided the Murphy case and struck down PASPA, no one could have foreseen what would be happening just 6 years later. In fact, on June 14, 2018, when Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey made the very first sports bet in the state of New Jersey, he wagered $20 on the New Jersey Devils to win the Stanley Cup in 2019, a bet that would take 11 months to decide. Now, bets are settled in seconds. Instantaneous action. AI delivers gambling action at light speed. In fact, just last week, one gambling company announced the purchase of an artificial intelligence company called Simplebet for the sole purpose of delivering even faster real-time gambling action. The human brain simply is not built to handle such constant action, and this is particularly true in young adults. The second answer to the question is the old adage, just follow the money. The sports leagues, teams, and players have entered into previously unthinkable partnerships with the gambling industry. They sell their real-time data statistics to the industry for billions of dollars. The gambling companies then turn these statistics into constant gambling action, micro bets, same-game parlays, player proposition bets, and much more. These are the most addictive types of gambling because there are no guardrails and no stops. Then the industry simply urges people, bet responsibly, and they call this their responsible gaming model. To anyone listening to my remarks who might be prepared to call them an effort at prohibition, you are entirely wrong. As both Senator Blumenthal and Congressman Tonko noted, we are not opposed to gambling. Rather, we're opposed to a dangerously flawed system of industry self-regulation which places the onus on the public and then offers to pay for treatment after people have suffered harm. The equivalent of big tobacco being permitted to do whatever it wants as long as it pays for chemotherapy and hospice. The Safe Bet Act is not prohibition. It is public health reform. It's regulating an addictive product. It places public health and safety over greed. The Safe Bet Act includes measures such as affordability checks, deposit limits, ending player proposition bets on amateur and college sports, banning credit card deposits, regulating the use of artificial intelligence, restricting microbetting, and limiting advertising. These are common sense reforms designed to prevent harm before it occurs. The reforms are part of an ongoing effort to replace the responsible gaming model of industry self-regulation with meaningful public health reform. The Safe Bet Act serves this purpose, and it is necessary because nobody wins unless everybody wins.
So my colleague Harry and I both grew up in different parts of the country. He was in Philadelphia. I was in Chicago. We were both huge fans of a baseball player in Pittsburgh by the name of Roberto Clemente, who was a Hall of Famer as well as a humanitarian. In fact, he died on a humanitarian mission to get aid to earthquake victims in Nicaragua. Previous shipments of aid that were coming in by plane had been seized by criminals and hadn't made it to the people in need. So he was going to get on a flight that was a plane that was overloaded and hadn't been inspected, but he was going to get the aid to those people. And unfortunately, he perished just off the shore of Puerto Rico shortly after takeoff. But he had said famously, anytime you have an opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, then you're wasting your time on Earth. I think we have a public health crisis and a mental health crisis related to this expansion of gambling that is fast moving in on us, and it's time for us to all do what we can in the work that we do to try to minimize that harm and to help people. And I hope this is useful, and I know that we don't have this as big a problem in Hawaii, thankfully, as it is in the rest of the country. But I think knowing what's going on and being aware of what the risks are is really important, particularly as there will continually be, I think, debate about proposals to bring legalized gambling to Hawaii. Thank you.